everybody, and welcome to this week's blog. And we had a very busy week, so let's get right to it. Started with a turkey hunt. I drew a 5th season turkey tag here in Wisconsin, and I was fortunate enough to have Jake joining me in the ground blind for my first morning hunt. Right off the bat, we had 2 gobblers working, one north of us, one south of us, front of the blind and behind the blind. One flew down, went silent, the other one flew down and continued to gobble for the next 2 hours. He was up on a ridge south of us, just working back and forth up in the woods. We couldn't see him, but we could hear him, and he was back and forth during that entire time. Tried to entice him in, he wasn't having it. Then we had a lone hen come into the food plot where we were set up with the decoys, and eventually we got this bird to commit. He went silent for a little ways and showed up on the far side of the food plot, came in, started strutting his stuff right off the bat, finally saw the decoys, circled into the decoys, then walked up to the Jake decoy, walked around it. I was using a bow, so I had to wait until he got facing away from me, which he eventually did. Gave me the shot I wanted, and I hit him, and it was lights out. He probably went 5 feet. He hardly even flopped. So, quick 2-hour turkey hunt, 5th season, I'll take it. It was a lot of fun. We've also been doing some fishing. This time of year here in northern Wisconsin, the lakes start to light up, as I call it. The water temperature's up at a point where the crappies and the bluegills are both in the shallows. I'm talking 1 to 2 feet of water, and they are very willing to bite. So, been doing a little bit of that. The crappies are exceptional. The bluegills, some of the bluegills I caught as well, are exceptional. I just keep enough for a meal. Typically 10 will feed me and my wife with some fillets left over, which I love to enjoy the next day. So we've been doing some of that. We also, this week, had our What's the Score Wednesdays feature that's on our Facebook page, the Hunt's Facebook page, every Wednesday, where we have the people try and guess the score of a picture of a buck that we post. And this week's feature was a deer that I actually took with bow and arrow out in eastern Montana back in 2010. Scoreable 16 point. He's a mainframe 6x6 with 4 sticker points, abnormal points. But that's the deer. The hunt for that deer was one that I'll never forget. We had this deer, Matt Tandy was filming me on that hunt, and we had this deer out in front of us the first evening we were hunting this big alfalfa field, chasing other bucks around, never came close enough for a shot. Now we had to wait one night because the wind was wrong to hunt him a second time, the second evening. And third evening we went right back to that ground blind. We had a perfect wind. Deer started pouring into the alfalfa field well before dark, and probably an hour before dark, we saw 4 bucks come out of a river, some river bottom cover or creek bottom cover, probably close to a half mile away, well over a quarter mile. And they started heading our way across this yellow prairie grass. And I had put a buck decoy out in front of the blind. Even though this was a September bow hunt, I'd put a buck decoy out in front of the blind. And I thought, the way he was acting the night before, where he was running all these other subordinate bucks around, I thought maybe he'll come over and check that decoy and come within bow range. Well, actually, all 4 of the bucks that were in this bachelor group came across that prairie grass on a beeline towards that decoy. And they walked in front of the blind just a little bit out of range, and they were looking at the blind, so I couldn't get drawn back. And he was the last deer in the little parade of bucks, and he got just a little bit to the right, and I grunted him to a stop.
Oh, got him.
He ran out probably 75, 80 yards in front of the blind and went down out in that prairie grass. And it was pretty much the hunt of a lifetime, especially since I've been putting my hunts on film.
No.
This was 1 in a million, I'm telling you. Just a great deer and a great hunt, and just a great story of the way things went down. So that's it for this week. Make sure you tune in again next week. I don't know what we're going to be doing over the next 7 days, but a week from now, we'll keep you posted and we'll keep you updated on what we've been up to. Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah. Worked him for 2 hours.